we've just finished our second day of our Leadership Academy with Professor Boris Groysberg, great friend of not only the family but the company. A 7th time in person. How lucky are we? You keep coming back, Boris.
It must be your wonderful winter, yeah.
Yeah, no, it is amazing to see the contribution, the impact you've had on our group for so many years.
It's this is one of my most enjoyable workshops. I mean, if I look at the level of enthusiasm of people. By the way, I don't think there is ever a workshop where people actually get together ahead of time, right? In groups.
Yeah.
I mean, read the case studies, review the case studies, discuss the case studies. So when I actually kind of like when they show up, 160 strong, right? And you have a discussion. Some of the discussions we had in the classroom were like so nuanced and so deep, right? Because they have discussed this for individual and then in groups.
For the first time, we had a mixture of our corporate team with business owners and with our partners across various areas. It was enlightening to sort of see that and how much enjoyment people had by sharing discussions with not just people inside their own particular workplace, but with a broader group. Something I look forward to replicating.
Yeah, I think that worked like really, really well.
Yeah.
Right? It's I was walking in a room yesterday. People were introducing each other, right? And then when you actually look at the discussions, right? People are listening to each other, taking notes. I'm sure there's a lot of they feel in the corporate we're learning from each other, getting together, and probably getting more aligned.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
the one thing you talked about us as being a learning organisation, if I can paraphrase you, from learning family. One of the great gifts I think has been the concept of leadership skills or organisational skills, always being able to learn. It's not finished. There's no finish point or no finish line. It's a skill like any other skill. You have to keep practicing and learning. It's pretty fundamental, isn't it, to the whole Leadership Academy we're trying to develop.
Yeah, without giving you a compliment or your family a compliment, because I certainly would hate to do that. Is it's from Brian to you, right, to Ben, to Sam, and on. It's just all of you are like deep learners, right? Spend the time to actually keep yourself relevant and actually learning about different businesses and then finding the ways to apply it. I mean, this is like really, really unusual. I think in every family you have one or two people who run, but the whole family to be learning.
Sometimes you get some better than others.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where Brian is, but yeah, some are better than others. But basically offering that gift for everybody else, right? Yeah. And it's interesting, right? Not only if I think about how it started, right? It started with all kind of like corporate, and just the evolution of this corporate, franchisees, business partners, supply. I mean, it's just like that gift of learning is now you're offering to so many different, to all your stakeholders, and I think that's I don't know if you take it for granted, but I think that's really unusual.
Seeing today the business owners bring their teams and leadership teams together, I mean, what a compliment they pay those members of their team bringing them along, and it was great to see the look on their faces as they came out of the first session realising what this was all about.
Yeah, and I think, and it's interesting, like you're a family, but there was another family, right, that I picked up throughout the day, right? I knew Larry for a long period of time, and all of a sudden I said, that's my son. And I'm just like, and that's my son, and then that's my son. I'm like realizing there are 3 sons, right? Mm-hmm. All in different groups, all learning differently. Mm-hmm. And just think about kind of like that, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, you have another family who's actually learning with you guys at the same time. I always think the feel is in a world that's changing so much and in which like staying relevant is really, really hard, right? I mean, the biggest currency is probably best practices and learning, and that's what you give to your stakeholders.
On that, obviously, seeing the pace of change that's continuing, staying relevant is obviously a big one. That you talk about personal balance sheets and the need to keep working on ourselves and working on our personal balance sheets. That, if anything, that's getting more and more important than less, or the same.
Yeah, no, I think there are probably skills that are going to be in and out, right? I mean, some skills are probably going to be classic skills that would also be with us forever. But I always kind of say it's the ability to kind of learn new things and unlearn things that no longer work. It's a true kind of like capability that you can develop in people, and really, really important. I know you're a YPO I think you guys have, what is it called, like lifelong learning?
Yeah.
So I think it's lifelong learning, which is true for, I think it's lifelong learning, which is true for your family as well as for your business.
The being back in person, we do online work with Boris, which is amazing. We'll continue to do that, but it is great being in that environment together. As I said today, I think your jokes are better in person.
I think the jokes are better in person, right? I think especially when you can come close to somebody, and I mean, there is something special, and it's that you can't. I think there are certain things you can't replicate online. I think that in online, I think there are certain things you cannot replicate. And today was special, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and I think part of this today was just like people were just so happy to be together, right? People were just so happy to be learning together in person. It's a different energy.
It brought back a lot of great memories being back in the room together, didn't it? We've done that, say, 7 times, being back there together, because I remember the first one we did, and to be back there. And online's great. We have that 3-way chat. The chat box is fun online, so it all has its place, but it's certainly, last few days underline the fact that in person adds that extra little bit of magic, or a difference that is so important.
I couldn't move around the tables. I mean, there were so many people there, right? And it just, and just think about it, people came from a lot of different places, right? From all over Australia, people came from New Zealand, people came from, right? And that just wanted to be there for a day, right?
We were sold out. We kept pushing more tables in the hotel. We weren't that happy, but we had to get more seats in there.
Yeah, well, and when we had to open the windows so people can get from a different room, I thought it was a little bit of an overkill.
It's going a bit too far, you think? Yeah.
So.
Well, Boris, on behalf of the family and everyone else, and one of the key lessons from Boris every year is not just the content, it's the fact that every year he continues to find a new way to take learning to a new level, which, if that's anything I take, it's one of the most memorable, and you've never disappointed on that. So on behalf of the family, the group, everyone that attended, huge thank you. Can't wait to welcome you back. And in the meantime, stay in touch online, and then welcome you back with open arms hopefully next year.
Yeah, and then this is only possible if it's a two-way street, right? Like, I mean, the way you and your colleagues learn and how deep you go, and just like challenges me, right, to keep raising my game and actually try to find things that would be deeper, more insightful, and so on. So yeah, it's a two-way street.
Yeah, you do it well. Thank you.
Thank you.